Welcome back, all you dancing rainbow ponies. We're back with Xplane 11 and I'm on the ground at Zagreb. And this morning we are flying to Udbina. Udbina or Udbina from Zagreb. Udbina is about 2/3 of the way to the coast in Croatia, and it's pretty much about 190, the heading 180-190. There is quite a lot of high ground between us and the airfield, and the approach is northwest to southeast, so I may skirt around these hills here and come in from this angle. There's some high ground there due north of the airfield. I'm going to submit a flight plan to get airborne. And then once airborne en route, we'll fly visually to the end point. So let's get cracking. I'll unpause this, and we'll get our avionics on so that we can submit our flight plan. So the target airfield is Lima Delta Zulu Uniform. Lima Delta Zulu
November
Uniform.
02 X-ray. Papa. Cross runway 5. Hold short of runway.
We'll ask for a 4,000.
5. Hold short of 5. November 02 X-ray. Papa.
Okay.
November 172 Sierra. Papa. Lima.
2992 we want for altimeter.
992.
Thank you.
Lima Delta Zulu Alpha. Altimeter 2992. November 172 Sierra. Papa.
2992 is about there. That's pretty good. Okay.
November 172 Sierra. Papa. Cleared IFR to Lima.
Okay, let's get the
Delta
engine
Zulu
started.
Uniform.
We've got our clearance. So
Squawk 4702.
avionics, got a master battery is all on.
Contact tower on 118.3.
Transponder
Contact tower
4702.
on 118.3. November 04 X-ray. Papa.
02. Okay, transponder is now squawking 4702. That's what we want. We'll turn our beacon on.
November
We'll get our
172
mixture
Sierra. Papa.
for
Cleared
which
IFR to
check
Lima.
the prop.
Delta Zulu Uniform. As
No one's
filed.
hanging about around by the prop.
Squawk
Get the fuel pump on.
4702.
And let's get this baby started. Excellent. Engines away. And we'll just wait for a moment. Alternators on. We'll get the fuel pump off now. We'll turn our taxi lights on.
November 172 Sierra. Papa. Cleared IFR to
Nav
Lima
lights on.
Delta Zulu Uniform as filed. Maintain 4,000. Squawk 4702.
Cleared IFR to Lima Delta
Okay,
Zulu
we'll just read
Uniform
back,
as
and then
filed.
we will
Maintain
also do the one last thing we need to do here,
4702.
which is
November
to
172
get our taxi
Sierra.
clearance.
November 172 Sierra. Papa.
Okay, we're taxi runway 05 via Foxtrot and Alpha. We've got a board over there. What's that one? That's
November
Foxtrot.
172 Sierra.
Okay, that's
Papa. Runway
Foxtrot.
5. Taxi via Foxtrot. Alpha. Hold short of runway 5.
Thank you.
Runway 5, taxi via Foxtrot Alpha. Hold short of 5. November
Okay,
172
we're away.
Sierra.
Park
Papa.
brake off, taxi lights are on, and away we go. We're going to taxi via, just going to make sure I don't crash into this Cathay Pacific aircraft here. So I've parked in amongst the big lineup of heavies. So we've got Foxtrot. What's over here? Let me just see what they are. We want Foxtrot, and that's Bravo. Was it Alpha I needed? It was Foxtrot and Alpha, wasn't it? So that's probably going to be down here. Yeah, everyone else is lining up down here, so I'm presuming that Alpha That's Alpha. Excellent. And there's another Cessna out in front of me. Oh, yep. I've got my taxi. I've got my taxi arrows showing here too. These little, these kind of faint yellow, bold arrows on the ground here. Someone mentioned those in a previous video. That they are actually, it's just a graphic interface the software overlays, and it's an easiness setting I can turn off. It's a realism setting. In the absence of having these airport cards, I'm just going to use those. There may come a point in the future where I don't need them, but oh, the lights just went off on the field. We have enough daylight now. Okay, I got a whole short of 05 just around the corner here.
November 172 Sierra Papa. Contact tower on 118.3.
Okay, changing over to tower now.
Contact tower on 118.3. November 172 Sierra Papa.
Okay, we're going to now check in with our new controller.
Tower November 172
As soon as we
Sierra
get clearance, we'll
Papa.
turn the taxi light off. Always takes a few moments before we get out.
172 Sierra
Right, we're clear for
Papa.
takeoff.
Heading
So,
040,
taxi light.
Runway 5, clear for takeoff.
Thank you. Tower.
Heading 040. Runway
Right,
5,
so we're going to
clear
turn on
for
to
takeoff.
040
172 Sierra Papa.
and runway 05, so we're going to make a 10-degree left turn once we're airborne, which is good. Just checking visually for incoming traffic, nothing there.
November 02 X-ray Papa. Contact center on 135.95.
One more check.
Contact
Wings
center
in the
on
way. Giant aerofoil above my head, but
135.95. November 02
okay, so we're just
X-ray
going to run
Papa.
straight out of here. No messing about. Right, my speed is alive now, and we'll very gently rotate, and we're up and away. Thanks very much, all those who helped get us airborne. Nav lights are on, beacons on, good, just checking. Right, we're going to get airborne, just make sure we're nice and stable here. Just going to trim the nose into a slight climb attitude, get that rudder trimmed as well. There we go, and we're going to come left 10 degrees onto 0. Oh, we're already on 040. Good, fine. No adjustments necessary.
172 Sierra Papa. Contact center on 135.95.
Contact center on 135.95.
Okay, we're changing over to center now.
November 172 Sierra Papa. Sector November 172 Sierra Papa.
November 172 Sierra Papa. Lima Delta Zulu Alpha. Altimeter
292, which we've got. Thank you very much.
Lima Delta Zulu Alpha. Altimeter 2992. November 172 Sierra Papa.
Okay, so now we're departing Zagreb. I've got a strange high-pitched hissing sound coming through. I'm not sure if it's coming from the radio or if it's coming from my mic.
02 X-ray Papa. Y heading
Okay, so I'm going to cancel the IFR now.
Heading 310 November 02 X-ray Papa.
And we're going to go visually onto 190. Actually, we'll turn right.
November 03 X-ray Papa.
Checking the airspace. I should have checked before I turned.
Navigation November 03 X-ray Papa.
190. Now, I don't know if anyone has noticed, but I have installed a sky textures / clouds and lighting textures add-on, and it is the Sky Max Pro 4 bundle, and it was $39 US, and it has given me a whole bunch of new cloud textures and weather options and whatnot. So let's see how that looks. I wasn't entirely happy with the way the sky and the clouds were rendering in the default. Oh, look at that! Is that lighting on the ground, or is that mist? I wasn't entirely happy with the way the textures and everything were rendering. There's the field we're departing, and yeah, just the sky looked a bit. It was pretty, but it looked a bit. The clouds looked a bit garbage at times. And I really wanted to have sort of top-notch clouds, so I've uploaded this pack. Now I'm just going to press the pause button just briefly in the sim here, just to check if that hiss goes away. Okay, yeah. The hiss is definitely coming from inside the cockpit. It's not coming from my mic. It's quite a loud hiss. I know there is also a bit of mic hiss anyway. That's because I've got another laptop next to me here, which has a relatively loud fan on it. And also I've got this my sound card software. It's got this sort of third-party, well, not third-party. It's got this additional sound utility program which tends to generate unwanted frequencies, and I forgot to turn it off before I started recording, and if I turn it off now we'll probably lose all audio, so I've got to remember before next time to disable that sound software. Okay, right, so we're on a heading of 185 degrees, which is just about right, and we're going to be approaching relatively high ground actually up ahead eventually. And I think our flight time today is going to be about 40 minutes. It's going to be relatively long. There's our destination down there, and that is currently 70 nautical miles away. So yeah, it's going to take a good nearly an hour. I'd love to get up to this 122 cruise speed that apparently the Cessna 172 has. That means we can just keep this flight relatively brisk, so I'm going to keep the throttle up at, or the RPM up at 2500 for most of the flight. We're going to actually blat along here at a good old pace, closing on 4,000 feet. I want to get to about 5 and then we'll level off. So this is Croatia, everyone. And we're going to be actually flying across Croatia for quite a few flights. We've got this leg, and then we'll fly out to Zadar, and then we'll fly south from Zadar along the Croatian coast down in the direction of Greece basically, and then we'll cut across Greece into Turkey. So quite some flying ahead of us, quite some hundreds of flights ahead of us probably. Still climbing at 500 feet a minute, heading 196, so we can afford to come left a fraction now. The aircraft is naturally wanting to tip to the left. I think that's aileron not being quite trimmed. Okie dokie. Approaching 5,000 feet now. It's ANSL, I believe. Oh, some of the way the clouds are rendering in these little valleys. Look at that, the misty fog in the valleys. Woohoo! Looks great. Although one just flicked out there. Okay, I can pretty much level off now. I don't need to be climbing so much. I'm going to trim the nose down 1 notch. Okay, 1 more notch perhaps. Oh no, it's starting to sink. That's alright, I don't need another notch of nose down. Now the nose is starting to sink. Should settle. Oh no, it's climbing again. We just gained a bit of airspeed. Okay, 1 more notch of nose down then. That should be enough. Down she comes. Then we'll gain airspeed and then the nose will rise again. So I'm flying hands off at the minute. Let's see how well trimmed it is. Oh, airspeed's just... my RPM's just climbing up. I'm just going to pull the RPM back to 25. Because we've hit the thinner air. And the prop's just starting to spin a bit fast, I think. So we'll just drag that spin back a bit with the engine. And I'm coming right, so let's just get that tipped over to the left. Okay, I've arrested the climb, but I think we're going to be hovering around 1 to 200 feet descent, 1 to 200 feet climb. I think it's going to, I think the nose is going to oscillate about that point. And we're definitely turning left here. Let's just check the artificial horizon, see how... Yeah, we've got left wing down happening. Come hands off, I'll see how long it's taking to drop the left wing. Yeah, it's definitely dropping the left wing. Ever so slightly. The heading's 189, so that's fine. I can handle that. Jolly good. This is lovely. So flying over the Croatian inland, Croatian highlands. Let's call them that, shall we? The Dalmatian Alps. Is that what they're called? Not entirely sure. Yeah, the left wing's really dropped down now. So I'm centered for rudder. I'm just going to add 1 notch of right aileron trim. Just to see if I can just... Now they're going to tip to the right, aren't they? Yeah. Okay. Looks like I'm stuck between having to adjust the ailerons all the time myself manually and using the trim, because if I use the trim it drops too much right aileron, and if I trim one back to the left then it starts dropping in the left. I can't quite get these ailerons stable. Never mind. We'll just have to oscillate a bit about our heading. Nice and level though. 5,000 feet, nice and level. RPM looks good. Right, let's check the map. Should be well clear of... Yep, we're there now. So we're well clear of Zagreb. And we are pretty much on course. And we're about 20% of the way there. Now look at these clouds. Is it worthwhile flying up through them, I wonder? It's tempting. It's my 196, so we have come right a fraction. Just going to tip the left wing a little bit. I'll tip back. Once we get about 185, I'll just level the wings over. 191 currently.
November 01 X-ray, Papa, flight maintain, flight level 350.
Okay, I'll level off there. So I should be back in the DCS Spitfire this evening, which means hopefully another video. I'm hoping a couple of the guys from 54 Squadron will be around so we can fly together. So hopefully there'll be a little bit of shooting back on the channel. 185, 184. And then I may even fly a couple of sorties of Cliffs of Dover this week. I'm just thinking about it. Might jump on ATAG or something and just have a casual blat. I haven't flown Cliffs for 3 weeks nearly now, so nearly a month. Storm of War campaign number 4 finished on the 22nd of December, and I stopped flying. Well, my last flight was about a week before the campaign ended. I had a mid-air collision, and then the campaign was coming to a close, so I thought, oh well. Plus then that's very close to when the DCS Spitfire came out, and then obviously Xplane 11, so I've been quite busy with other things as well. And it was Christmas, family time. Now there is some high ground way out in the distance on the 12 long. We've actually descended a couple of 100 feet since I last checked the altimeter, but I'm not going to bother changing anything. .186, excellent. I'm happy with our heading. I've always thought it would be grand if you could sit in the passenger seat there. I don't know why I thought that was grand, actually. It's a stupid idea. They get the, I don't know if there's a training version of this with the instrumentation on both sides. There's rudder pedals over there. Actually, where's the control column? It's not visible. Ah, it must be sticking out of there. They just don't show it because it gets in the way of the instruments for virtual flying, I guess. Whereas in real life, you would do what I can do with the track IR. You would just look over the control column and you'd be able to see what's behind it. But a lot of a lot of people who use these sims don't have track IR, so they need the control column to be to not render in, to not be shown. Because if it is shown, they simply can't see their instruments because they only have a, let's say, a two-dimensional perspective of the dash. Whereas I've got a 3D perspective, I can do that kind of thing. Shall we take a look outside? Do we want to? I'm not really too fussed, actually. Maybe if we were a bit lower, or if the hills come up a bit higher, we can take a look at it. We can actually just glance around from up here. It's really nice, really lovely terrain. Oh, there's a bit of a sort of god ray. Oh, that's cool. I think that's what that is. That sort of coloration. How's my heading? 193. Well, that's okay. I'm going to touch that left diffraction just while we're looking out the window. What do I think of these clouds? Am I impressed? Yeah, I do like them. This SkyMax Pro cloud set is, I think, better than the box stuff. The textures look really good. keen to fly up through them and see what it's like. I've heard, or I've read, some people say that flying through the clouds doesn't feel as good when you've got the SkyMax installed as when you just use the vanilla out of the box clouds. The best flying through clouds experience I've had in any sim is actually in Cliffs of Dover. When you're up close to those clouds and you fly through them, it's really stunning. But the main drawback with Cliffs is, in terms of the clouds, is they don't render very far away. They pop in at about 10 kilometers distant, which is a real annoyance. Whereas in this, you can actually extend the clouds right out to the horizon, and they fade in very gently. They don't just pop in. They're a very smooth fade, so you don't really notice the fact that the clouds, when you don't have them extending to the right horizon, you don't notice it. But I can extend them out, and I don't really lose any frames. I've got the option, which is nice. Obviously, in a multiplayer competitive environment, you want everyone to have exactly the same settings for clouds, because obviously if some players have them turned off, they essentially have a visibility advantage. But in single player like this, non-competitive single player game, it doesn't matter. Right, we're heading on 208 now, so we really do need to come left quite some way. We've been just tipping to the right for a while now. That'll do. We'll roll out on that heading. 190. Let's have a look out the window. Oh, it really is super. The way the light is splashing through those valleys. Ah, it's so well done. This is the SkyMax Pro, I think, that's doing that. It's giving me this shadow light, as these hills block the sun and the clouds are blocking the sun, and there's all sorts of interplay between the terrain and the clouds and the light from the sun. It's just, I think there may be some mist perhaps in these lower sections, I don't know, but it's really superb, it really is. I remember playing the very first sort of sims I ever played, or the first flying games I ever played, were Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe and Aces over Europe. This is back in the 1990s. And I remember when those came out, I thought they were absolutely stunning, and I was amazed at how realistic they represented sort of flying. And if you look at a YouTube video of either of those games now, they look horrendous. The ground is basically an enormous green plain. The sky is just a flat blue plain, and then you have these quite squarish looking grey things, which are supposed to be clouds. And then the aircraft were very one-dimensional, or two-dimensional. They were just a bunch of flat pixels, especially in Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe, or SWAT. Aces over Europe was a little bit better, but at the time I was amazed, and I thought that was as good as it was ever going to get. And now when you look at this, if I could show this to myself 1990, how long ago is that? 20 years ago? Jeez, 25 years ago. Bloody hell. If I could show this to myself back then, I can't imagine what would go through my much younger brain. We kind of knew it was one day going to get to this level, but yeah, looking around, this is, and we know now this ain't perfect either. I mean, there are lots of little problems people still find, and I can find problems, you know, repeating textures, 2D flat. If you look at the textures from here, you'll see they're just flat on the ground. They're just aerial photos or satellite imagery that's been repeated over. Now there are bits of terrain where the terrain changes abruptly. Oh, we're 213 now. Let's come left again. So even now, despite what we've got, we still expect improvements, which is fine because it will improve. It'll just get better and better. And this sort of thing is so advanced, you know, in terms of weather, in terms of avionics, flight modelling, and it's still not the best out there. Probably individual bits of software do different things better. Some flight sims do really great flight modelling or systems modelling. Others do damage modelling really well. Others do the weather environment really well. Others do the multiplayer environment really well. I can imagine that give this to a pilot from the 1960s or the 1970s. They probably would have paid millions for something like this. As a training environment, it probably would have been worth millions. Right, where are we? We're on heading. We're about halfway there now. I think we're going to have to climb over this hill up here, that first hill. So we may be too low at the moment. We'll see how we go. We may have to climb up over there. We're down at 4.5. We've been descending. In fact, I'm going to notch the trim back so we nose up, and we'll just go into a very shallow climb, a couple of 100 feet per minute. RPM is still fine, sitting just above 25. And we've had good airspeed the whole way. Okay, one more notch on the nose back trim because we haven't really started climbing. Lovely day for a fly. Very nice indeed. Still not climbing. A little bit more nose up trim. Now we're climbing. Gee, now we really are climbing. It's gone from no climb to 400 feet per minute with one touch of the trim, but that's going to settle back down as we lose some airspeed. So hopefully we'll settle down on about 200 feet per minute. What's our heading? 186. Lovely. Very nice. We are approaching some high ground. Some very high ground. See if I can just use this zoom to get a better look at those hills up there. It's some impressive looking terrain. Very impressive. A relatively decent climb going on. Oh, it's just shallowing off though. So we may have to pull the nose back a bit more. In fact, I'm going to go one more notch of nose up. Too good, not bad. Just give it a tiny fraction of right wing. climb is sort of settling our... Looks like we're about to start descending, in fact. It's a bit weird. We're up over 5,000 feet though now. Oh, 180. Okay, let's get that right wing over. Check the map. Well, bang on course. I think we're going to turn right, come around this hill that's at 12 o'clock. There's another Cessna out front too. What height's he at? 10,000, he's well above. Okay, we're going to fly around this high ground and we're going to cross over that saddle there and then we'll be in on final. So I'm going to go hands on shortly. So instead of flying over this hill, which will put us at relatively high altitude directly over the airfield, we're going to go right wing down and we're going to slip around here. Which way did we take off? 05, so we took off to the north. Actually, maybe then I should land that way towards the north. I wonder what the current wind conditions are. Conditions. Sky conditions, visibility, it doesn't say which way the wind's blowing. Maybe there's no wind. Okay, so we can approach from any angle. I'll approach from the northwest. So that'll be runway 13. Runway 13. There's a transmission line there. I thought I saw something. Transmission line. We're going to turn right shortly. Oh, there's a nice farmed plateau over there. That flat ground immediately beneath this this large hill here. Oh, that looks so good. The little gullies. The textures they've used for the landscape are really good. From this distance, amazing. Zoom in up there and it gets a bit shoddy, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter because you're not often looking at them from that close up. Look at that view. Marvelous. Wow, there's a really steep gully over here. Blimey, look at that. Look at that valley. It's like a canyon. Oh, I'm really tempted to fly up that canyon. It looks so cool. What is that? It just looks spectacular from here with the... We're going to have a look at it. I'm going to extend this flight. Whoa, frame rate. Frame rate. Okay, I think we just loaded in either new weather or we just entered a new section of the map. Or the weather, yeah, I think it's just got a bit warmer, and so the next sort of section of weather is loaded in. That's what that was, but the frame rate's restored now. Look at this valley here. Wow, it just keeps going too. Croatia, eh? Croatia, you little surprising little country. This is a right gem. I wonder what river this is. That's a very spectacular little valley. I'm going to find out what river this is. I bet there's good trout fishing in here. Maybe I'll come down here for a holiday sometime. This looks lovely. Look at that. Okay, right, back on course then. We had a little look at our valley, our river valley. So this is about slightly northeast of Udbina, up over here. There's Udbina, so I'm going to look at that on I'm going to have a look at that on Google Maps and try and work out where that is. Back on course now. We're going to skirt around this hill. Yeah, you can see most of the cloud that was sitting here has faded. The misty sort of stuff has disappeared now.
3 X-ray, Papa. Climb to maintain flight level 360.
I hope that detour wasn't too much of a annoyance. Now we're entering into some pine forest. Look at this. It's lovely. This country is beautiful, Croatia. Really stunning.
November 03 X-ray, Papa. Climb to maintain.
I know most of
360.
this part of the world is really beautiful. I will come down here for a holiday. I will. Doing my little bit for Tourism Croatia. If I had my own light aeroplane, I would fly here. But I don't. Certainly not affluent enough to afford an aeroplane. Lucky if I can afford a bicycle. Right, here we go. Swinging round to the left. So we're just going to amble our way around this lovely hill here. And I think I will be coming back and getting some screenshots of this, maybe for the video thumbnail. I'm sure this little section of flying here is going to be providing me with some very pleasant screenshots. We are descending, but that's deliberate because I know that we're not terribly far from the airfield now. The field is in fact over the top of I think there, it's on the other side of that hill, somewhere about there, if I look at the map correctly. Yeah, there's a valley, there's a second bit of high ground, and then if we swing in that way. Okay, I'm going to fly across here on my 11. Once I've gone past that piece of high ground, then I'm going to turn properly left. And the airfield's either over there where my cursor is, or it's up here. I think it's more likely to be over there. That valley in the distance. I don't think it's in this valley here. Yeah, this valley here is that one, the one I'm pointing at. Far one's over there. And we're going in VFR. I won't be requesting any kind of traffic control. It's a shame there's not a VFR radio system in place where you can just sort of announce your arrival in the circuit and just work your own position with the other traffic. So my frame rate's really good. I've installed this SkyMax Pro and it does not appear to have affected my frame rate.
Heading 280.
Nice and smooth. That's just me moving my track IR unit around just so you can see how smooth the...
01 X-ray. Papa. Fly heading 01.
It may be just below 60, but I think it's fine. Can we view frame rate? Show frame rate. No. What is that? Gizmo 64. Don't know what that is. Don't know what Gizmo 64 is. I guess we'll find out. Okay, we are past our second high ground. Let's do this left turn. Gonna get rid of some RPM, go to 2200. So we can start descending. Hopefully. Yep. Now, we should be rolling in towards the airfield now. Pretty much. I think it's over there and it runs in an angle like this. So I'm going to push out in the direction I'm currently on and then turn left. Yep. Oh, I probably actually need to come right a bit more. Once I get past some high ground on the right wing, I'm just going to have to do a little right and then a left. So over here, I need to be over here and then we'll turn left and tucka tucka tucka, in we go.
November 02 X-ray. Papa. Lima Delta Zulu Alpha. Altimeter 2992.
Lima Delta Zulu Alpha. Altimeter 2992. November 02 X-ray. Papa.
I'm just looking at the instruments while I've got time. Seeing if there's anything here that I've that I can be using that I've not seen before. Right, I should probably be keeping my eyes out the window now because we are approaching terrain and we certainly don't want to crash into it with me looking at my instruments. So VFR approach for Udbina.
November 03 X-ray. Papa. Climb to maintain flight level
Quickly
3.
check our map. Excellent. We're lining up. Airfield should be over there somewhere. Ah, there it is. I think I see the long grey thin. There it is there. Excellent. Okay, so I need to be landing in that direction and I just on the other side of that little ridge line that drops down there. It's just on where my cursor is. Okay, I'm going to level off, I think, because I don't want to descend down. I'm just going to get the, okay, it's still 2992. Good. Okay, so still 2992 is our, and I'm just going to check the height of the airfield. Airfield is at 2462. So if we're at 4, that gives us 1,500 feet above ground at the airfield. Don't really want any less than that, not at this point. So I can drop 300 feet without too much concern. I'm starting a left turn though now. And the runway should be quite visible. Yes, there it is. I've got a little bit of a drop in the terrain there. So I'm gonna, wow, the nose is really down. I'm gonna turn left before I get to this bump. So over this grassland, I'm gonna turn left and it'll be right on it. So, feet up on the rudder pedals. Right, pre-landing checks, what have we got? Let's go, nav lights on. I'll put the landing light on. Taxi lights can stay off for now. Fuel pump can stay off for now. I won't bother with flap just yet. Mixtures feel rich. Excellent. We are tickety-boo. Temperatures are in the green. I've got plenty of fuel if I need to go around. And now we're lining up. Throttling back. There is the runway. Right there. Turning in on a nice long approach here. Checking for traffic. I don't see any traffic. There's nothing on the field. That looks like a relatively decent glide slope actually. I'm happy with that. I've been coming in way too high recently, my last few approaches. I really don't like losing sight of thresholds underneath the nose. Okay, we are squarely lined up now. Just putting a bit of right rudder trim in. Airspeed's 80, which is okay. I'll get a little bit closer, then I'll chop some throttle and we'll pull the flaps down for the first notch of flap. Should be on, yeah, I'm on the tower. I'm on the right frequency. So if there is any traffic here, I should hear about it. Okay. I'm just going to drop some throttle purely well actually for two reasons. I want to just drop some altitude, and also I want to bring that speed back so I can drop my first flat. I want to get that below 80. Come on. Right, we're getting high now. I can feel that we're just getting a little bit high on my approach. It was looking good before, but now we're starting to just get a bit of altitude. Okay, here we go. We can pull those flaps back in a second. See, idle the, idle the throttle basically. I need to sink a bit. First flap. Second flap. Throttle on. Final flap. Flaps are now fully down. Airspeed 60, excellent. Yeah, just got a bit of sink on here. No, it's excellent, that's good. I want that. I want to just be dropping down a fraction. Thresholds sitting in a good position. I can just put some sauce in through the engine now, just to arrest that sink rate. – 200 feet per minute descent, lovely and shallow. Airspeed 60, that's fine. Just give it a touch more, bring that up to 6.5 or so. No need to use the rudders so far. Okay, we're getting a little high. Just bring some throttle back. back on. Yeah, we are a bit high here. I do have a tendency to come in high. It's really a problem. So now I'm descending at 500 feet a minute just to stay on slope. Yeah, I think I'm too high here. Let's just zero the throttle. Drop it into a brick-like descent. We will pull the throttle back on in a second. I just want to shed some of this altitude I've got here. That's up. Maybe I just had a bit too much power on. Yeah, descending really fast now. We've got a high rate of descent. 800 feet per minute. It's much too high. Somehow I just got a little bit too high. I think I had too much power on for too long. I have a tendency to do that. Although this is starting to look nice now. We're going to miss the threshold. We're going to be landing long. Let's say we're going to be landing about 100 meters past the rubber marks where everyone else has landed. Oh no, we weren't too bad at all there. Okay, just keeping the nose wheel now on the ground. Welcome to Udbina. Okay, we're going to look for an exit. Taxi light on just while we're doing this. Turn the landing light off once we're off the runway. Looking for an exit. Ah, I think I see one up there. A little bit of concrete that comes off to the right. No one else is here, so I don't think I need to worry about getting off this runway in a hurry. Oh, look at the landscape over there. The trees, the clouds, the sky. Looks great. Yeah, that SkyMax Pro is pretty good. I haven't done anything with the colours. I know there's various different colour schemes you can do, but I was just not really that enthralled with the textures of the default clouds. These look better. I may push out the view distance too, because they are popping in a little bit out there. Okay, whoops, I need to get off the runway here. Nicely done. Okay, then we'll come left, I think. Oh, hello. Got more taxiway here. Okay, we'll turn left in a second and we'll just push off to the grass section off to the left here. I won't go right because I don't really want to climb up a hill whilst taxiing. Pretty sure that should be flat. This airfield needs a bit of work. Okay, we're coming left. Excellent. Let's get the park brake on. Welcome to Udbina in Croatia. It's a lovely place. Some really nice scenery here. We'll shut the aircraft down and then we'll take a quick look at some of the highlights. Although the landing at least. Let's get all this stuff off. Avionics, thanks guys. Always did well for me. Lean the mixture. Get the magnetos off. And battery off. We'll leave the flaps down. Should we leave the flaps down or should we bring them up? Let's leave them down. Actually, no, we're going to bring them up because I better get the battery back on. Because in case it gets windy and the aircraft decides to get airborne. There we go. Battery off. Excellent. Let's look at some highlights. So here's this lovely moment when we were flying around that that hill. This was really nice. Quite spectacular around here. Really good little piece of country this. And there's that valley behind, which I will check on Google to find out what that is. So there we go. That's the end of episode number 9, I think. And we are now well in the centre of Croatia. And our next flight will be heading down to the coast and hopefully landing at Zadar. Time for a little update on progress now that we've arrived at Udbina in Croatia. There's where we started. We've now completed 9 flights from Landshut in Bavaria, and we are in Udbina in Croatia. Now this actually looks like it's possibly an old military airfield. Does not look like a civilian strip at all where we've landed, and interestingly I didn't realize we flew over Serbia, a portion of Serbia. And that river valley I was talking about actually is inside Serbia, and it is the Una River, this river here, which passes just around Bihać and Brekovica and some other towns. And here's a photo of what it looks like. Not a very good resolution photo, but that's the river flowing just through Brekovica. Anyway, there we are. We are now back in Croatia after flying over Serbia, and we're going to be heading soon down to Zadar, which is terribly not far away, 40 nautical miles or so, and then from Zadar we go down the coast. So there we go. Progress to date, looking good.